Hello, my name is Bryce Tubbs. With me today is Coco LaRain Veira, and she's a speaker, trainer, coach, author, singer, and a poet. And she's the founder of Inspired by Coco Incorporated, which is a personal and professional development firm focused on helping people thrive in business and beyond by transforming pain into power through motivational keynotes, seminars, and coaching. I'm extremely excited to be able to share this story with you guys today. Thank you so much for coming on today, Coco.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Now before we get started, for those watching, if you're watching this from any other place outside of our free community, I just want to personally invite you to come and join us in our free community on Facebook or on LinkedIn, depending on which platform you use more often. It's basically a mastermind where people come together and support each other every single day. So if that's what you've been missing in your life, go ahead and click on the links either above or below and join us inside. Now, Coco, what was life like before you got into, speaking, training, and coaching? And what was the catalyst that brought you into the field?
Well, thanks for asking. And I appreciate this opportunity to share my story. So life was beautiful and challenging at the very same time. I grew up in Toronto, Canada, to a lovely single mother with, in Toronto with a couple of beautiful brothers. But then on the other side of the beauty was a lot of pain. I ended up getting pregnant at the age of 17, and I won't get into the details of all of that, except to say that my heart had been broken, and I was, they say searching for love in all the wrong places. I'm probably dating myself with that one. So there I was, 17 and pregnant, a survivor of trauma and childhood abuse, with a very supportive mom and brothers, but very confused. And I was getting ready to quit high school. The teacher and a public health nurse at my school really rescued me. They saved my life. They asked me to be a part of a program called Positive Choices. I was 17 and pregnant. I was like, well, it's a little late for that, don't you think? And they said, no, we want you to be our spokesperson and tell your story. They had known that I was a very talkative person and I wasn't afraid to tell my truth. And so I said yes to that opportunity, and they started to take me around to different schools through this program to share my story. The first time I stood on that stage and told my truth in front of 500 high school students was my saving grace. And that moment, my pain started to transform itself into what I now call power or willpower or personal power. And I fell in love with the art of using my story, my lived experience to inspire others. And my motivational speaking career began. It was launched. And so that was sort of the huge catalyst. Whereas other people wanted me to feel ashamed, or they didn't appreciate my journey. They thought that I made mistakes, very critical, very judgmental. When I was standing on that stage and talking about how the pain of childhood trauma affects your mindset, affects your capacity, your ability to love yourself. And so then you begin to look for love from others. When I started to share those truths, I was no longer ashamed. And I was proud of myself, and yeah, so that was really what got me started. And 27 years later, I'm still at it. 28 years. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. People always ask how long you've been in business for. I'm like, it's a long time. I can't remember exactly. But, so nowadays, what problem are people generally trying to solve when they come and you either get mentored by you or just come to you in general?
Well, I do a lot of work around the impact of trauma and abuse and how the side effects, right? If you think about abuse as a snake that bit you, yes, there was someone that left a snake in the garden, and we can get mad at the person who may have perpetrated the abuse, and we can get upset at what the abuse was, sexual molestation, rape, trauma, anything that's very painful in that particular place, abandonment. But there's a poison that snake leaves behind, right? And so when people come to talk to me, we talk about root cause, what's really going on in that heart of yours, beyond trying to hold people responsible and beyond naming the problem. How do we heal from it? How do we grow? How do we restore ourselves and create a new normal so that we can thrive regardless of what we've gone through, right? It's not just enough to survive, right? We don't want to stay in victimhood. We don't want to just survive the trauma, but we want to begin to thrive. And how do we do that? We have to get rid of those side effects. We have to address that poison that's left behind and get it out, whether it's low self-esteem, learned helplessness, anxiety, the cycle of abuse continuing, things like that. So we kind of just break all those things down and help people to rebuild, and to recognize that there is beauty there too, like resilience and compassion and a lot of power. That's where the phrase transforming your pain into power comes from.
Yeah, can you talk a little more about, I think last time we spoke, you're very good at, coming up with phrases and things that allow people to learn very easily. I think you said it was a background in poetry.
Yeah, so I've always been very artistic. I love the words, and I find language can be very comforting. It also can be very painful. And so I try to really talk about, develop phrases that people can remember, right? Like the transforming pain into power, like thriving by design, no matter what. Recognizing that you can be bleeding while you're leading. These are all taglines, if you will, with deeper meaning that helps people to remember what it is, that how they're choosing to live their life moving forward. How can I thrive by design? How can I transform my pain into power, or my mistakes into masterpieces, right? To recognize that there is beauty in the ashes and joy from mourning. A lot of these sayings that I have come from religious holy scriptures, or artistic, other people's poetry, song lyrics, and that kind of thing. I try to use the arts as a way to remember and to soothe my soul and the soul of those people that I work with.
Nice. Just talking about, this slowdown time. So some people feel really, really stressed. Some people feel really relaxed. Can you talk about some of the takeaways that you've had as a result of this time of quarantine and slowdown?
Well, for me, because I've been working from home for years, the idea of sort of being stuck in my office / room, and doing my work from, it was very easy for me. It was really interesting. So it was a bit of an aha moment when people are like, oh, I'm feeling isolated, whereas when you're an entrepreneur, there can be quite isolating.
Yeah.
And so I've just kind of been happy.
Yeah.
Average person, I suppose, that not that I'm not extroverted. I am definitely extroverted on the stage, but there's a side of me that isn't so much. So I've embraced it, if you will, and recognized there's value in the alone time, and that kind of thing. So the challenge is the relationship that I have with my fridge continues to not be so great. I'm all up in her Kool-Aid, always eating way too much. So I should be able to blame this time of isolation, the extra weight gain or whatever, or, the fact that I'm more addicted to chocolate, but it was that way before the virus started. So I can't even say that I can't blame, any of that inactivity on this, because, it was normal for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody wants to be their own boss until they have to do it, right?
Yeah, it is challenging. In fact, I got a job working with the Rape Crisis Center a month before the pandemic hit, and we got quarantined. So whereas I've been self-employed for the majority of my speaking career, now I'm working from home remotely with through this organization, and that has been interesting. So it's definitely new. Whereas most people have stopped working, I actually started a job. So I feel like I'm doing everything backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a cool time, but a lot of good things, a lot of bad things. Just decide. Can you talk about, that's a good point. So some people are, they have not trained their mind to see the positive inside of things. Can you talk about how to train your mind to see positive aspects?
Yeah. Unfortunately, and fortunately for me, as a motivational speaker, after doing it for 27 years, I can't seem to shut the motivational speaker in my brain off. Sometimes I just want to be, for lack of a better term, pissed off.
Yeah.
But there's this trained sort of expert in my heart and in my mind right now that always has her 2 cents, right? And so recognizing the power of positivity But I also balance that with, because you don't want to just try to draw a silver lining around every single cloud, right? It's positivity with purpose, I would say. So if I'm going to be positive, what is the outcome that I'm looking for? It's not to necessarily negate the pain or make me feel guilty for having the pain, or to just draw that, well, at least, there's that, at least you're home, at least you have this, or at least you have that. It's not to, because sometimes positivity can devalue our experiences or oversimplify our experiences, right? But the way that I see it is, if I'm dealing with a negative situation or circumstance, whatever I'm bringing to the table that's quote unquote positive or healing has to be the same equal balance. It has to be just as powerful as the pain. Otherwise it doesn't work. So it's not going to erase the pain, but it's going to balance the pain. And then I choose what to focus on when I feel that truth. So there may be a fact that's happening that's like a painful fact, but what's the truth behind that fact? Right? And that's how I measure positivity. It doesn't just have to be positive. It has to be meaningful. It has to, as I said, just as powerful as the pain, so that it can almost envelop the pain and soothe the pain, versus pushing the pain down or ignoring the pain or drawing that silver lining around the pain, around that cloud, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just thinking about, the future. What's your vision for, as your life as far into the future you like to think about?
Well, my farthest point is to be alive and well for my grandchildren's grandchildren. I'd love to be able to be around for them. I have two beautiful grandchildren. Shout out to Kofi and Maya. Shameless plug, my two grandbabies. But to really be able to be alive and well, not just in person, but in legacy, right? I want them to know that grandma was here, great grandma was here, she made a difference, and the financial legacy, my footprint needs to be beautifully huge so that they can step right into that and sort of stand on my shoulders, and continue the legacy. I want to leave an inheritance for them. So that's sort of really, really long term. And then really expanding my career as a speaker and a coach, and a trainer, really being able to motivate more than just my small little community, but to be able to make a difference in the lives of people around the world. That's definitely even more dedicated to that now than ever.
Nice. Yeah, it's needed more than ever too. So I'm glad that you're here to help people out.
Yeah, I'm really, that's where I'm on the planet. I really have tapped into that as a purpose. I think that's one of the main reasons why I'm here. As this alien in this skin suit on this body, I am here to be that light, to in the dark places and help people to find their light inside of them.
Nice. Just thinking about, things coming out. Do you have any new projects, like conference, course, group coaching, one-on-ones, books?
Yeah, I've been working on my book for a very long time. It's called Hiding in Wallpaper Flowers, but I've actually kind of put that on hold because I've been through something else. You asked me earlier what's been a catalyst for my work. Well, I had a more recent tragedy and trauma that I went through that is informing my work now. I'm working on a book called Grieving with Grace. That is based on my healing journey after my son, who was 26 years old, passed in June 2019.
Wow.
Had complications with asthma. And I was actually incredibly devastated by what I then call a loss. I don't call it a loss anymore. And I'm grateful that for the last 27 years, I have tried to master the art of transforming pain into power and transforming trauma into triumph, because all of the tools that I've been teaching and explaining and experiencing because of the other things that I've gone through, all those tools I knew how to use them for this particular trauma, and this particular pain, which is the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life, and to help me to transform the pain into power. So Grieving with Grace is it has been helping me over the last 12 months. And now I want to be able to share that with other people.
Nice. You know, yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, my beautiful son, Jordan Veira, JV the poet. He's an amazing speaker and poet, and definitely walked in my footsteps and then surpassed them, and left behind two beautiful daughters, Shamaya and Shantea. But yeah, my mission is to encourage other people, specifically moms who've lost sons, especially now during everything that we've gone through. I wasn't sure how quickly I was going to come up with this concept or share this concept, because I want to make sure I'm not bleeding while I'm leading. But in light of everything that we're experiencing right now in our world, with the incredible pain that many individuals are feeling at the murder that we're witnessing, the murders that we're witnessing in the U.S. And I know here in Canada we have some of the same challenges. I felt very called to share these secrets, the 5 grace secrets. Grace is an acronym, so I'm excited to share that.
Nice. Where can people go to learn more about that?
Well, right now I'm sharing a little bits and pieces as I write the book on Instagram. So my handles are all Coco, LaRain, Veira. So if they, I guess the place that I share it the most is Instagram. But yeah, if you're searching for me, it would be Coco, Coco, LaRain, Veira.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. One thing that we kind of talk about when we're talking about purpose, is the word success. What does the word success mean to you?
It's a good question. I think I used to define success probably more on a financial basis. If I had the bank account to represent the work that I was doing, or that I had a big title or a big position, that was success. But for me, what I define success as peace of mind as you continue to grow and strive for your dreams to come true. I find, when I can tell that my children are doing well, all things considered, that's success to me. When I can put a smile on somebody's face, when I'm speaking and someone has an aha moment and I know that potentially transformation is going to take place, that's success to me. Where I can find my own peace, in my work and in my personal life, that to me is success. When I can face the challenges that I have with intention, and comfort myself on those bad days. Don't beat myself up on those bad days. Recognize that failure is a part of the process. There's so many ways that the things that I teach about what is success. But really, for me, the biggest word there is peace of mind, through it all. To learn how to thrive. Again, I'll go back to that I said earlier, to thrive no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And to thrive means to grow. A lot of people misinterpret. They think thrive means to be happy, whatever, but to thrive means to grow. It's like a lotus flower growing in the muddy water, right? If you look in the mud, it looks messy. It looks, murky. But if you see a lotus flower, it is absolutely, for me, absolutely breathtaking. And so this is what we do in this world that is muddy, and murky. We are all, if we choose to be like that lotus flower, we decorate the earth. We are the beauty in the mud. And so thriving is to grow. And everything that we go through can help us to grow. And it's a matter of growing well, growing in beauty, growing in grace, growing in peace, growing in strength, versus, because we can grow in other ways that are unhealthy, right? So
yeah. Interesting. That was a cool analogy. I haven't heard that one probably before, so that's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, there's a couple of different things that I look for when I teach my I Thrive secrets, or my Grieving with Grace secrets. I try to take principles from nature, from science, psychology and from ancient teachings to reiterate what I teach. So we talk about, but there's so many beautiful things found in nature and even in culture that we can learn from to help us be able to lean into these principles in a way that is that, you know, it's not just something on the top of my head that I'm sharing. It's based in truth. It's based in facts. It's based in nature. It's based in, you know, in science. And I look to nature a lot of times for the beauty in that. The cycle or the circle of life, right? What the butterfly goes through when it's, you know, when the caterpillar is becoming a butterfly. There's secrets there that are in nature that we can draw from.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, that's why I like talking to you, because I get to learn new things about how to implement that into my my video content as well. So that's kind of cool. I'll probably be using the lotus analogy and the caterpillar one a little bit more frequently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always say, what, you know, share what you like. You know, the caterpillar turns into soup in the cocoon. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. So the caterpillar's body turns into liquid as it's, you know, it sort of digests itself. That liquid is actually concentrated protein. Inside the caterpillar's body is these things called imaginal discs that hold the cells of the butterfly body. So as the caterpillar body, disintegrates and becomes this liquid, this protein, it then begins to divide up those cells, which becomes the butterfly body.
Oh, wow.
Right? So when we think about our process, when we're about to grow, it can be painful. It can feel like we have to melt, like something needs to be shed. But all of our experiences are like that protein, right? And then there is something inside of all of us, that imaginal disc, that new life, that new level, that new, you know, gift that you have inside of you, whether it's a song, whether it's a business, whether it's, you know, a family that's there. And so you're kind of, there's cocooning seasons that we all go through that are painful, that are mourning, growing pains kind of thing. But if we recognize that there's that power inside of us, there's that imaginal disc inside of each one of us, the pain, the protein will help it to grow. And then we can sprout into this very evolved person, emotionally, mentally, financially. We can start to evolve just like that caterpillar. And they talk about, you know, I believe I can fly, right? You know, I mean, some people, you know, we don't have to pin ourselves down by limiting ourselves. When we think about flying, is that realistic? Well, every time you do a podcast like this, you're flying. Every time you interview someone, you're flying. Every time and then you're listening and you're growing and you're flying and you're becoming this majestic, you know, individual who is totally in their purpose, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Excellent. You know, really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I absolutely do appreciate that. And I really appreciate your leadership in this. And I encourage every listener to, you know, to continue to believe in themselves. And I would be happy to chat with anybody and just pop in my, was it DMs or slide in my DMs? I always say the wrong one.
I don't think you want to slide in DMs, but you can come in the DMs. It's a different connotation.
Reach. Oh, is that what that? So I just messed it up. Okay, I'm aging myself. I don't know, right? I'm trying to get on TikTok too, which is a really cool platform, but I haven't mastered that yet.
Nice. Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, I haven't really opened that one yet. But, you know, for those watching, we thoroughly hope that you found this valuable. Now, one more time, you know, if you have not already found our community, I just want to invite you in there, because it's basically a support group and a mastermind where people come together and support each other every single day. So, you know, in these tough times, we have to stick together. So if that's you, come on and join us inside by clicking the links either above or below the video and learning a little bit more. Now, hopefully you found this, you know, enjoyable, and you know, you had as much fun watching this as we did creating it. Now, feel free to hit that share button so other people can get some great value as well. Have a great day. We're done recording. We're out in 3, 2, and 1. See you guys.